Okay, so I want to revisit the GoXLR. Now, if you're not familiar with what the GoXLR is, it is an audio interface that was announced at TwitchCon 2018. I was actually there on the floor demoing it as it was announced that day. I mean, it was awesome. It was great. And it was super innovative at the time, where it helped you separate audio devices. You had faders that you could control stuff with. It was made for content creators, and there was nothing on the market like it, and it was amazing, and it was received so well. But that was back in 2018. It is now 2022, and they have some competition now. And one of their main competitors is called Beacn. And as of January 31st, 2022, Beacn has now released a Beacn microphone, their Beacn Mix controller, and their Beacn Mix Create controller. Now, the two controllers are both going to be in direct competition with the GoXLR, and they essentially do what it does, but better. And what's funny is that the engineers who work at Beacn were actually the ones that originally worked on the GoXLR. So these are people that built the GoXLR and have learned from the mistakes of the GoXLR and are now developing products to try to compete with it. It's a very interesting story developing here. Now, the Beacn Mix Create has just about everything you could want. It has everything from, submixes, knob pages. I mean, it has a routing table, mute modes. I mean, it has everything the GoXLR does and then some. And where Beacn really is going to succeed is actually in the software department. This is where GoXLR has really kind of fallen off, is that the software, it's not great. And GoXLR has everything in terms of the hardware. They have the knobs, they have the faders, they have the mute groups, they have everything that they need, but the software is lacking. With the Beacn Mix, it's showing you what's happening with your audio in real time. It's giving you real-time feedback that the GoXLR just doesn't quite give. That and the Beacn software is going to be able to show you what your stream is hearing versus what you're hearing. So you can control those two mixes separately. That's the beauty of submixes. And that's something, again, GoXLR just hasn't implemented yet. And Beacn isn't the first GoXLR competitor to even do this. Elgato actually did this with their microphone with the Wave 3. Now, Elgato doesn't have a physical controller, but their software does the same thing. And it seems like Beacn and Elgato have very similar software in that they both have the same features, but they're both still a step ahead of the GoXLR. Now, with all this being said, you're probably thinking, okay, well, Jaren, are you guys going to sell your GoXLR and jump on with Beacn? Well, not quite yet. The reason that I'm not going to hop over to Beacn just yet is because at the moment it is only an audio controller. The Beacn Mix is a controller, and a mixer, because it just helps you to control your audio a little bit better. It's not an interface where you can actually plug a mic in. In fact, with the Beacn, both the Beacn Mix and the Beacn Mix Create, I think there's only one USB port in the back, which, don't get me wrong, I love that clean design. I love the minimalization of cables. Love that, all of it, but you can't plug a microphone into it. Now, if you have a USB microphone, you're going to be set. The Beacn is going to do everything you need it to do, and honestly, I would probably lean more toward the Beacn if I had a USB mic like the Wave 3, or even some other from Razer or from Shure, any USB mic on the market. I would probably lean more toward the Beacn system. But if you're like me and you prefer XLR microphones, well, the GoXLR is still the only option. Because currently, like I said, Beacn is not an audio interface. It's only an audio controller. And to switch from the GoXLR, I would actually need to buy two devices to try to make up for this one. Yes, I could use the Beacn Mix Create, which is at $200, but I would also need the Wave XLR from Elgato, and that is another $150. So you're looking at around $350 and two devices to do the job that one device does. And that's what I love about the GoXLRs. I don't need a multitude of audio devices. I just need one, plug in my mic, plug in my headset, plug in, I could even plug in an Xbox to this thing, and it's gonna do great, and I can control audio from there. I mean, this is like my one-stop piece of equipment when it comes to audio. Now, in terms of GoXLR, like I said, they have all the hardware in place, they just need to fix their software. Now, what could GoXLR do to their software to help? Well, first, they could add submixes. I would love to be able to clearly tell what is happening with my stream audio and what is happening in my headphone audio. I want to be able to tell what's going on in each and to tell the difference. Second thing I'd love to see is pages. I want to be able to use these motorized faders to control more than just 4 channels. I want more than that, and I don't want to just throw everything on, you know, this catch-all fader back here. This one is my catch-all fader where my games and my PC audio, all that lands, and it doesn't really, it doesn't, that's it. It's just a catch-all fader, and I don't have that control, because then I would have to go into the software and manually change the levels, and who wants to do that when you have some awesome faders right here? Now, these are some things I think GoXLR needs on the software side of things, but also, I mean, again, this is from 2018. New hardware too would be nice. Seems like we've been waiting for the GoXLR 2.0 for years at this point. Now, in all honesty, I don't really use the voice changer or the sampler all that much. I mean, they were fun for maybe a day, but after that, I don't really use them that much. So let's take that out and put a screen in that, keep the size, put a screen there, and show me what is actually happening with my audio in real time, what the percentage is, what even the decibel level is. That way I know what that sounds like. You know, it's tough when you're, you know, maybe you're not trained with audio to see what, you know, what did some of these levels mean? Because sometimes when you do and put a fader up all the way, sometimes it sounds different on stream than it does in your headphones. So I would love to see a screen where it could show you what changes you're making and how that affects your audio. I think that would be really helpful. And I think the third thing that GoXLR needs to kind of approach and really think about is the price. The original GoXLR is going for around $550, and frankly, I just think that's way too high. I mean, the Beacn is going for $200, and if you pair that with the Wave XLR from Elgato, I mean, again, that's going to be at $350, and that'll do everything the GoXLR does about $200 cheaper. So, I mean, it's just, I think at that price point, it's just too high. And I really would love to see that price point come down. And you might be thinking, all right, Jaron, well, what about the GoXLR Mini? What about that? Well, that's going for around $200, and yes, that's gonna probably compete mainly with the Beacn Mix right now, but the Beacn Mix, in terms of its software, just does so much more. I mean, yeah, the GoXLR, you can plug in an XLR microphone, but more people are buying USB mics. They're getting better, they're getting cheaper, and honestly, there's really almost, I mean, XLR mics are great, they sound good, but at this point, USB mics are becoming the new meta, basically. So it will be interesting to see what GoXLR does and how they respond to Beacn's release, because that's going to be hyped. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be swapping over to the Beacn system, as tempting as that is. I love the compact form factor, I love the control that you get from the software, but it's still just a controller, it's not a USB interface. Now, if Beacn could come out with an interface that can do almost everything the GoXLR can do. I mean, I don't really care about the voice changing or the sampling, but if it can come out with everything it's doing with the Beacn Mix right now and add a audio interface where you can plug in an XLR mic, I mean, that's going to be tempting. I mean, that's tempting for me to switch over. You know, this is the beauty of competition, where you kind of have to adapt if you are going to continue forward. And GoXLR, it's time to adapt and it's time to innovate, so we'll see what happens this year, I guess. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Would you consider looking at the GoXLR, the GoXLR Mini, or are you more appealed to the Beacn system? Are you running a USB mic? Do you think that that'll work better for you? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. This is going to be a very interesting year for creator tech, I think. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a like if you like this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.